So good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna call the Bandshell Ad Hoc Committee meeting to order. I'm going to give regrets for our chair, Adrian, and our member, David. But around the table, we have Councillor Smith, Sylvia Foxton, Ray Morrison, and Jim McMullin. So the first order of business without a chair, I need a motion to appoint an acting chair for this meeting. You'll move, Sylvia?
Move.
That Rob Smith be acting.
And do I have a seconder, Ray? Rob, do you accept this motion? All those in favor? Thank you, that's passed. So I will gladly hand over the gavel to our acting chair, Councillor Smith.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bandshell Ad Hoc Committee meeting. First, I'll have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Jim McMullin, seconded by Ray Morrison. All in favor? Those carried. Number 3, disclosure of interest. Does anyone have a disclosure of interest, or you have any interest at all? No disclosure of interest. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes. They were circulated. There's a copy provided on your desk as well, if you haven't had a minute to glance over them. Are there any questions, concerns, omissions to these minutes? Seeing none, are we gonna move in a seconder for that? Jim McMullin, second by Ray Morrison. All those in favor, the minutes? Opposed, carried. Thank you. So the item for discussion, it says 5.1 fundraising, but before we get into fundraising, I'm going to go back to the minutes and just ask our building inspector, Jason Meyer, is there anything, Mr. Meyer, that has come out of these minutes that has transpired since our last meeting?
It was discussed in the Township Council meeting yesterday that we get required quotes to remove that existing structure that's there. And I'm going to start reaching out to see if we can get that building removed, salvaged at that point, and try to get that done as soon as we can, as possible.
Thank you. Any word on any other people coming forward as an in-kind donation at this point in time?
I've got the preliminary kind of drawing discussed with a few contractors, and I'm still waiting to hear back on those discussions from them. I'm hoping that we'll start receiving them. I know that it's kind of in everybody's hands at this point. I haven't received anything besides the sidewalk, the in-kind donation for it. The electrician, it was mentioned that there might be a possible donation of supplies that I have yet to nail it down to get a good figure for him.
Good. Yeah, question, Ray Morrison.
Ask. What would the sidewalk go from the current parking lot over to the Bandshell front steps?
There's a missing sidewalk on the canteen building that's currently in place around the women's washroom side. And we're hoping to extend it around that building and make a accessible sidewalk from that area of the park to the existing to the new Bandshell. We have to trench across the parking lot to get electricity through there, and that's gonna give us the opportunity to replace it with sidewalk instead of pavement across the parking lot.
Any other questions, Mr. Meyer? Nope, okay, thank you.
Yep, I have one other side note. It was discussed last meeting about sound quality with the aluminum. I have a very good acquaintance friend that is a musician, like a world-class musician, and he's played at all kinds of structures. He had mentioned that it doesn't really matter what the material is as long as it's fastened securely. With aluminum, if it's something that's locked together, there could be a vibration issue. Obviously, the denser the material for the ceiling structure would be a better opportunity in case something was a little loose or not securely fastened. And that it might be in our best interest to throw some sound dampening insulation or something on top of it, just to kind of deaden that hollow space above it. So I'm kind of looking at that at the moment from our supplier for materials to see what those options could be.
Thank you. Thanks for the update. Anything else? Anyone? Anyone? Please? Nope. All right, so we are on the discussion of fundraising. So at the last meeting, there was a former lighthouse project, had a draft donation letter that's been given to staff. They're working on that right now, because we asked the question about finance, how people can contribute to this project. And once we had all that information, that'll be going on this letter, and the letter would have to be approved by the committee before it ever gets sent out. And we also talked about not having categories as far as a dollar amount, you know, a platinum, a bronze, a gold, silver. We felt it was suited to be an open donation to this project, so that no one's being discouraged about a dollar amount. If whatever they can afford to donate is what they can donate. So that's why we didn't put a category to it. We also talked about with our donations, how we're going to recognize these individuals or businesses or companies. We talked about signage inside the Bandshell under cover, so that be out of weather and be always there for people who can see who's contributed to the project. One of the biggest project, one of the items that's being discussed today that's in front of you is the patio stones. And we talked about patio stone in the front of the Bandshell. And so before I get into that, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to receive this report. And then we'll ask our staff to give us some more information update on that. So can I have a mover and a seconder on the fundraising report? And moved by Jim Mullen, seconded by Ray Morrison. Staff, it's all yours. You can sell us your bricks.
Well, I was just really looking for a company that did it. I contacted the Rotary Club. This is the company they used in Brockville. I actually have used this company before for Memorial Stone. They did excellent work. They were good to deal with. But I just wanted to put the information out there. And you can charge anything you want. I just kind of chose some different things so you have kind of a guideline. Some seem really expensive. I really felt that a family of 4, you know, if you think of that, they might want a stone for every family member or whatever. So I just think we should think of that when we're choosing a price. That's all.
All the committee comments.
I think I concur with the suggestion. So the dark is what you're suggesting.
Yeah.
This township charges, and the precedent is the gray, which Brockville charged for their. So they've set something higher, and people appreciate that they're getting a better bang for the buck.
Exactly. So I was just showing what the neighbors had charged. And this is only my suggestion. You don't make as much money on it, but it's more affordable, and in the end, maybe you do make more because maybe more people buy them or are able to buy them. I know I have a brick. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but it's in the lighthouse or the clock tower in Prescott. But you know, that was their thing way back then, like you just wrote on it then. You wrote on it and it's in the inside of that clock tower.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree with your sentiments that. That's more reasonable, and I don't have a brick gun at Hardy Park and. The big splash pad, I think they used them there 2 years ago,
Okay.
maybe. Just because they were overpriced. Just. Reasonable. So that looks more reasonable, and I think we might get more. Local participation.
Anyone else? Jim, Sylvia?
So what do you think would be the ideal size, the 4x8, or are we talking 8x?
Well, I think that you can choose. Like if it's a company or wants to spend more money, you can get a bigger, the 4x8, you can only have 2 lines. Of wording, so the bigger you go, you can put more on it, or you can put a logo, you can't put a logo on the smaller ones. So the bigger ones are usually for like a bigger corporation or a big family wants to do their whole family or something like that. Or if you just want to get the biggest one and write Rob Smith was here, that's fine too.
Keep up the Louis Cemetery. Jim? Settlements, I echo Ray's comments, having 3 sizes is appropriate. The charge that we're looking at is not unrealistic. It's a cost that I think people can afford, even though times are tough down the road, but like I said, you don't want to charge too much. But you know, if you look at your profit line, I think we're gonna be pretty good.
And just a reminder, this is not including delivery. But when we had one of the parks, delivery was donated, so we might be able to do that again.
It's a question of the council or not, but if we lay the structure out to where it's gonna be on location, is it better to have a rough idea of how much landscaping or paving stones we're hoping to have in case either we limit ourselves to how many we're gonna sell, or we want to extend that area, because then I can start getting ideas for the construction of it to make sure the gravel's in place and the site is prepped for, say, 20,000 stones or 10,000 or whatever you want to limit that to. It might be a good idea to design that area a bit to see kind of what area and how much paving stones we want to add.
And adding to that, is it gonna be the floor of the structure, is it gonna be the steps, is it gonna be the walkway up? I think we have to kind of decide where we want to put them, right?
I don't disagree with your comments. When I went down the other day and did a rough estimate of setback from the concrete slab. With the setback from the fence line and everything else. And I believe our front steps of the pavilion of the Bandshell, I think it's 8 feet, correct?
Approximately.
So, at the top of my head, I can't figure out, say, how many stones or what of a square footage we want to prepare.
Pretty true. That's true because we don't know how many will sing. It's a hard thing to guess. It's in here.
We could have that opportunity of the accessibility ramp and the sidewalk. To maybe stop the sidewalk at a certain point and do the paving stones from there. Maybe alongside that parking lot where the accessible parking will be. Or maybe to the other side of the existing parking lot where there's driving, we could do paving stones from that point. As long as we kind of have a rough idea of length and width. From that side.
And just to add to that, if we do sell like a ton of them, what they did in Brockville is they put them as the area around benches. So we could always maybe incorporate that to overflow ones or, you know.
If we decide on a size 10 by 20 or something, and we don't fill it up with named or engraved ones. Am I reading this right, that we can buy blanks for $1?
Yeah,
And so that might give us some leeway to
Yeah.
go a bit bigger. And the worst case is we get some late purchases of the engraved ones or second rounds and just
Exactly.
pop them in then.
it actually looks better with some blanks in there. It's not as busy.
Yep. We can read the names, obviously.
Yeah.
If we have that area like Mr. Morrison mentioned of 10 by 20 or 20 by 5 feet wide or whatever, if we can calculate how many blocks we're gonna need or papers. And then plan on buying, obviously, the remainder of them. And that'll kind of limit what, or we can exceed that area if need be.
So we definitely decide it's going outside, or is it possible to put them inside?
No, not one inside.
They're going to be outside.
Yes.
Did we talk about them being incorporated into steps? Can you refresh my memory on, the discussion of what the steps would look like?
Steps would be ideally concrete. Being a loose stone and being part of landscaping could be a potential maintenance issue. It's not gonna be secure.
So, not on the steps.
Not on the
leading up
steps.
to.
Yeah, usually
But
any kind of elevated surface should not be paving stones.
So how do we go, how do we determine how big, whether this is another a visit out there type of thing to base it off? But until we
Yeah,
have the footprint of where we're gonna put the structure, we'll have a good handle on how big, how many we're gonna order.
yeah,
Correct.
that might be a good idea for sure.
And we can just take some spray paint and. Just
Yeah.
spray paint the octagon right on the grass and we can see really where the footprint's gonna be. And go from there, right?
So. When would we, so if we wait for the removal of the old. Go out, like the discussion last night about staking out behind the site. Would that be a good timeline? Removal of the old, stake out the new, and walk in between to figure out where this could go?
Yeah, we're looking at middle of July for the old but you're,
We can schedule that site visit anytime. Like, if that's something we can get out of the way and get a rough idea where it is, and that way we can start planning ahead, not wait for the removal.
I was gonna say, the removal of that other old pavilion is not really gonna hinder us. Really,
We're gonna.
where we're gonna
front
put
of
it, yeah,
Okay.
because we'll know our frontage,
Mhm.
right, and we'll know our side as well. Just because as the walkway going across from the canteen presently. Across to the new Bandshell,
Mhm.
that's all open, and then the frontage of the Bandshell is gonna be open, so. The old pavilion is really not hindering, I don't think this location as much.
If we can plan that site visit soon,
Yeah.
and we do mark it out, that'll give us the opportunity to get in front of the planning department for the permit for the building.
Yeah.
For that site plan,
Yeah.
for the structure.
So. Any more discussion on the stone?
How do we plan that meeting? We say next week at 10 o'clock, we're gonna
Right.
meet there?
Right.
Is that reasonable for people?
So next
Tuesday's a holiday.
next week, Canada Day,
Um,
so So,
We'll probably be missing Adrian, because I think he told us,
yeah, he's got family coming in from Ireland no matter what.
Yeah.
But. Bottom line is, we're gonna be there.
Yeah.
But it won't be Canada. I'll be plowing around somewhere else.
Got your cape?
Hey,
Got your cape for it?
I'll show you. What day is good for you, Jason?
Usually Thursdays of morning's a little tough for me, so any other day, Wednesday or Friday would be fine. I don't know if you have any constraints or not.
That week I'm good, the week after is crazy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, next Wednesday? What's yours?
Wednesday, I'm not good in the morning.
That's your golf. Okay, Friday,
Probably good in the morning.
okay, Friday morning,
Absolutely,
earlier possible?
as early as possible.
Uh,
I can be there at 8:30 if somebody wants to be there, if you want to. plan
Okay,
that.
8:30? Oh, it's good. I'll make sure Sylvia's there for 8:30.
I think it's the other way around.
Okay, so before we move on to that, so let's get back to the brick.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I think the consensus is that we're gonna go with the, project of selling bricks. The, 4x8. At the charge of, $50, which is in front of you in your package. The 8x8, that's $75. And 12x12 for $150. Got the consensus around the table? That's together. Okay, so that is what we're gonna put as our brick fundraising project. Okay, got that?
50, 75, and 150 though.
50, 75, 150, but you gotta make sure the sizes are. What those,
4x8, 50.
yeah,
8x8, 75.
yeah,
12x12, 150.
correct, yeah, okay. Then a site meeting will be next Friday at 8:30. To stake out, plan out the location. And determine the locations of the patio sites. Okay. And, yep.
One more question I get. Shipping may be something we could get as an in-kind donation. See the bricks between one for a blank, I guess, and 9 for a big one. If that doesn't get contributed as an in-kind donation, and someone volunteer to go pick them up and to alleviate that cost.
Well, I think that would be an in-kind, right?
That would be, no, I don't know what that in-kind refers to. If
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
company saying, we're not gonna bill you,
Oh, no, no,
that's great.
that would be as if somebody here said, hey, I'll go get those for you.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
If they don't offer that, I will offer to do that. Good excuse for a trip.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might want to.
Might be. Let's see.
Yeah, because it'll be pallets of stone,
Okay.
big truck.
Well, when I get the numbers, I can work on that.
Anything else? No,
Nope.
So what about the ingredient?
that's all, that's all included here.
So you're gonna get the people to speak for what size stones they want and what they want engraved,
Yes,
and then you're going to do the ordering.
and that, yeah, so we send them all the list of what everybody wants, the sizes and the words. We send it, and they'll send it all back a mock-up to show us what it's gonna look like. And then we approve it and we put the order in.
Okay.
Mhm.
So. Any question, Jason?
Yeah, I'm just thinking like planning ahead, if we plan on the location of the paving stones and a certain size. Are we gonna keep the donations open for, say, the next season as well? Or it's that, what time frame or cutoff time would we allow donations to be made? To proceed to make sure that work is gonna be completed for the season.
So. In my opinion, the donation never stops. As there is a line item in the budget for this project. And any money coming in, and it goes to that donation, and goes into that line item for that project. The, so that's that part. So I can't see that ever stopping. It's no different than the lighthouse. If someone wants to make a donation to the lighthouse, we have a line item for lighthouse maintenance. It goes into the line item.
I was just thinking if we have that size determined. And say by the end of August. We order the bricks that we need to complete the project. And then we continue to sell them through September and October and November. And in the spring, we can flip a few out and put new ones in. But at least then we can coordinate that work to be completed. And just forego the cost of, we might have to buy a few extra bricks. Or we extend it to a certain area at that point, but at least that project's still moving.
Yes, I'm going. Yeah. I don't think there's really an end date.
Okay,
As far as saying, you know. If you with the committee decide. Here's the end date, here's the project end date. Or an opening, okay, and that's what we're gearing to, that's fine, but like you said, if anyone else comes after that, they can still submit. You know, for a stone, and like you said, pull one out, put one in, kind of deal. I think that's what you're getting at.
yeah.
Okay. So on the, on our, donation form. There's gonna be you're gonna have information like for the bricks, you're gonna have to say, you know, what name or whatever on the brick. Maybe connect with, Rotary and find out if they had a form, a certain form they wanted or
Yeah.
whatever. And then, between you, Laura, figure out how we're gonna incorporate that into, I don't want, different letters and forms going out. I think it's very simple if we have one form.
So when you say form, you're referring to having it included on a donation.
That's correct.
Okay, that's
Correct.
what I thought, I
Yeah.
didn't want to be clear.
Right? I think it helps. Do you think you could have that for next Friday?
The form,
Yeah,
it will be done by this Friday, next week.
okay. Because that way, next Friday when the committee meets, we can review that form. If we give the blessing of that form, and we're ready to run with it, then we're gonna run with it.
So on the agenda. It's the location. To map out the patio stones and then the donation letter. For
Correct.
the agenda, the next, okay, I'll have that prepared before. And
They send a form to with the company. They do have a form they use for ordering. If we wanted to use theirs or do our own. And the reason they do it this way is they have all the squares, so you don't go over the number you're allowed.
So, I guess what I'm saying is that I still wanna keep everything in the one sheet of paper. Right, go ahead, Laura.
I was just gonna make the suggestion, Chair, if we have our donation letter and it comes in and they want, they're requesting the brick. Then we can provide them the order form for them to fill out.
Yeah.
If there's any missing information, cause we can just transfer, it, like staff could just transfer it, and then you have your one sheet, right?
Something sign it too.
Yeah. Jen, can you,
You can put that on one side and then the information on the front.
absolutely.
Okay. Just trying to keep it simple, that's all I'm.
Simple.
And then, yeah. Anything else?
Are there different shades of gray or are just one specific?
I know I had a choice when I did a rock, but it was a rough rock and I get to choose basic shape and stuff. I just told them what I wanted, but for this, there might be, I can talk to them. It might be different shades so that it looks kind of neat. I don't.
Just an FYI, so not knowing that, you know, Jen had that package ready for us today, but first thing this morning, I got up early and I did go to Home Depot, figure out cost of stones, but and then I got a cost for the engraving as well, but quite honestly, the information that's been provided to us by staff is cheaper, less expensive. Even though I was trying to well, I shouldn't say deal locally at Home Depot, but still, and the stones wasn't here. The engraver was a local person, but contracts it out to somebody else. So either way, there was going to be transportation of taking the stones out and back and whatever. So I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. We're trying to keep it in house. But anyways, anything else? Anything else, Jason, that we need to know what's going on?
Not at the moment, that's pretty much everything.
I have something for other business.
Okay, all right. So, no more about the fundraising, anything, the question was asked last night about barbecue and car wash. I stated that we as a committee have not set a car wash or a barbecue date. You know, we're a small committee and I'm not sure how we're gonna do that, but I just have some concerns when it comes to, it's nice to have car washes, but I just don't want, you know, a pebble of stone on a what rag or whatever and scratch a car. But anyways, maybe there's other things we can do throughout the duration of this project. That we can maybe do in the park or elsewhere. Or the firemen may have something going on, we can maybe have a dunk tank or something, who knows, but. Anyways, we'll still discuss more of the fundraising, but I think the brick was the one, the form was the other one. So we can get that out to businesses and residents. Yeah, Jennifer.
I think they are planning on doing another summer bash in Lynn again this year.
We in the community have heard it.
No, they did one last year. And they're talking about doing another one this year, and that would help support whatever's going on in the park.
But we don't know anything.
We don't know anything.
No. No. There's been nothing, out, so we have no idea. What's the date? Nobody knows.
No, they were waiting to see what was happening with this and that they want to help. But they were waiting to see what's rolling with it, and then if they have a bash, which they want to do again. But they were kind of waiting for it to be built. So as a grand opening and.
Well, there won't be.
No.
Nothing quick.
No, it's not gonna happen that quick. Yeah, I can't see it happening maybe August, September. At the earliest. Yeah, but. Anyways. All right, anything else? Okay, now under other business.
Sorry, excuse me, just for the members that didn't tune in and watch the council meeting last night. Council did approve your recommendation of the design. And the other thing I wanted to let you know was that as of this morning. On top of the initial $40,000 donation, you have received $1,535 in donations towards Bandshell.
Thank you. All right. Any other?
Just a question, I looked at the minutes and then watched last night, has council ever seen version E. Visually seen it, just so there's no.
What I-
Shot there, because it's not the same as the original concept.
Was it not included in the last meeting's agenda?
Of the council or of?
No, the Bandshell.
Yeah.
So it is, if it was, because I wasn't here to do that again, then it would be. Would be available online, but was it included in their package?
And it might not make a whole lot of difference to them because they're going to approve whatever
Oh,
the Lynn group recommends, but. Just so they know what's coming.
yes, I will say yes,
Okay.
it was, because I recall Mayor Burrow, did, talk about. There was, different options, and I know Councilor Renault talked about, which options she liked out of them all. And we did have quite a discussion about it all. So, yes, I will say, yes, the council was aware of it. Option E was the one we chose, which they accepted. And I recall that discussion as well, where someone says, "Well, I don't really recall it," but then I do recall the mayor saying, well, "Yeah, we were all given the folder, but the package was given to us."
And it is available on the portal with the meeting, the committee's last agenda, the June 10th. It was included in the.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I recall Councilor Renaud expressing the two of the options, which one she liked out of them all, so she's well aware of it. No one else had, any questions about it, but it was discussed. Yeah. Now, like you said, it may not be right into your regular council package, but.
No, that's okay. I knew the mayor had seen it, but I didn't know if it was sitting as a, on this committee and where you've seen it. So if everybody's seen it, there won't be any
Yes.
surprise.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so like in the minutes, it doesn't show the design, right, in the council meeting minutes. But the package itself, the ad hoc committee, it's there for anyone to look at, yeah. Okay. Anything else? No. I know there was a discussion about, some kind of weather vane or whatever on top of the bandshell. I don't know if there's any more thought about that either. We know there's a person who does stainless steel tin logo designs. Very local, the Athens area. And so it might be something to consider if we can get something made that we could use as a weather vane. Not sure how it will work out, but how it will be attached to anything else, but.
You can bring that picture of the one that's hanging on the wall. It's on, actually, what would really look nice is the one that's at Lynn School with the pencils. If he could do one like that on top of the roof. Because that was.
Yeah.
Fundraising and, and it was there when Cheryl said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I think would be pretty easy, like he makes it at iron, isn't it?
It's stainless steel or aluminum, whatever we call it, yeah. Metal. It's all done by computer, cut out. You want me to look into that?
Yes.
You have lots of free time. Who needs sleep, so
Yeah, I hear you.
I thought it was something else.
Yep.
So I think it was during the committee's first meeting, you had mentioned about how with the previous ad hoc fundraising. Members donated. The money back. So I'm not asking for a show of hands, but if members wish to donate. Their fee that the township pays back to the fundraising, can you send an email either way? Cause it's the 6 months, so I'm trying to get the attendance records. For your honorariums to finance, so that I know whether or not they're to send you the money, or whether you'd like it to go back to. The fundraising. No pressure either way, really, and nobody needs to know, just. I need to know so I can forward that, so just send it in that please.
Does everyone understand what that is? You don't understand what that is? All right. Anything else? What's sold? Okay, so next meeting is next Friday. And I feel the date is
This is worth.
July 4th. Yeah, first thing in the morning is good because I think I'm busy that afternoon. With July 4th at 8:30. Next meeting at Douglas Stop Memorial Park. Can I have a mover to adjourn the meeting? Moved by Ray Morrison. And all those in favor? Opposed, we adjourn at 8:41.
10:41.
Oh, 10:40.
That's wrong.